Now, a message from the UN.
The white line was so thin, I'm sinking in. This blow wasn't real, now that I can feel.
Gave me the wrong kind, yeah, I sure fucking mind. That wasn't cool, as I sit here and drool.
Look just the same, they're not the same. Come in small plastic bags, this work looks like a hag.
One gets you up, but now I'm just stuck. This isn't fun, it just fucking sucks. Don't let the woods get you high, it's probably ketamine. Before you snort that line, it could be ketamine. I can feel my legs, ketamine. I'm on the floor, super high, fuck ketamine. Fuck ketamine. Don't do it, man. Fuck ketamine.
What do you have to do? That's more important
Trivia.
than this podcast.
I have my trivia thing.
No, it's not as important as this podcast.
No, it's close though. It is when I actually have the show.
And we're back. Andy Frasco's World Sim Podcast. I'm Andy Frasco.
I'm Tom Brady.
And he is Tom Brady, hot from the Tom Brady roast. Nick Gerlach, how you doing? I'm surprised you weren't on that roast.
I'm not funny enough.
Yes, you are.
Or fan, definitely not funny enough.
You're just not Boston enough.
No, thank God, huh? I can read and stuff, so.
Man, they were ripping on Tom Brady,
You know who
dude.
killed it the most, actually, sort of, like, versus their expectations?
Yeah.
Kind of Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah, Bill crushed it.
I know, I didn't expect that, but then I was thinking, oh, yeah, he can command a room of 80 grown men NFL players. Of course he can do a roast.
I like when he said it's not that hard to it's hard to coach a team, isn't it? Because I guess Brady has some soccer team that's fucking trash. Nikki Glazier crushed it.
She's good. Tony Hinchcliffe.
I mean, Hinchcliffe is how did Andrew Schultz get so big?
Well, he has a huge podcast, Flagrant 2 or whatever.
He kind of looks like a Nazi.
He's really good at, I think he had his hair cut like that for a movie role.
I don't know.
I don't know, actually.
It had real 1946 vibes.
He's kind of the crowd work goat right now, I think. He did a whole special, just an hour of crowd work.
Really?
Yeah, but I actually don't know that much about him, but he seems...
Our boy Bertie Kreischer killed it, too.
I saw that breakout he had where he was like mouthing along to the... Yeah. Seems like something you would do, kind of, actually.
Yeah, I love Bert. How you doing? I'm back from tour. I just got back last night, Florida, and then I did my first ever solo show with Bayliss. So it was really just an acoustic
it's a duo show.
It
Actually.
crushed.
Yeah, 2 people is a duo.
It crushed. I was so nervous.
You were?
Yeah, because I've never done an acoustic show. Well, I guess our podcast.
Did you play piano a lot?
Yeah, except when it came to Umphrey songs. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking play 10-minute songs, Bayliss.
You can't. Yeah.
He's like, it's not 10 minutes.
It's not really in your
6
bag.
minutes.
Yeah,
But I didn't realize how good of a guitar player Brendan Bayliss is.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's like Scotty Pippin. It's like he's in a band with Michael Jordan, so you forget how good he is. But he's still one of the best.
But it was great. I got to hang out.
His wife came.
His wife came. I hung out at their house for 2 days. I was basically
before
Uncle Andy. I went to their softball game, all fucking hungover as shit. Or
terrible.
softball.
Soccer?
Softball.
Oh.
Nala plays
he's a
softball.
girl. That's right.
They love, dude. All his kids are super fucking athletes.
Yeah?
They're like really talented athletes.
His dad was an athlete.
Yeah, his dad
Tennis
was
coach.
the top tennis coach in the country.
The Lou Holtz of tennis.
Yep. Oh, man. Florida was wild. It was actually cooler than I thought.
Yeah, dude. It's fun
I thought it was
down
going to be real trashy.
there. It is, but that's
and
what's
no
fun
one was
about
gonna.
it.
Yeah. It's so funny. We were talking about that breakout in Florida. And I realized, yeah, it is kind of wild dogs out there. But I was expecting like no one to show up to these shows, so we did like underplay venues.
Oh,
and
you did?
We sold out every night.
Well, that's the point of an underplay, right? Like,
Yeah, just in case.
create demand.
Yeah. It was dope. We're definitely coming back to Florida at least once a year now.
At least
It's just so far away, dude.
it's so hard to get to from Denver. Like, there's no good flights. It's weird.
Yeah. And like I was
It's
stuck
weird.
in Jacksonville for a day and a half because
Ugh.
it sucked. I wanted to get to Chicago a little
What'd you
earlier.
do in Jacksonville?
Oh, just like watched porn in my hotel room.
So same thing you would have done in Chicago, basically.
Not at Bayless's house. There's kids in there.
Yeah, right. I gotta go to bed. It's 4 p.m. I got to shower.
Uncle Andy, why is the bed shaking?
Oh my god.
I'm like, don't worry about it. The door's locked, kid. Don't bother me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Andy's a saint. Don't you ever talk to Andy like
It's
that.
about you, not her.
I know. I fucking love Bayliss and Annie. They're like the cutest fucking couple, dude.
Yeah, they still get along.
Yeah, they get along.
That's weird.
It is weird for him being away so
Well,
much.
maybe that helps.
I mean, she's just like a super mom, dude. She's fucking doing everything.
3 kids.
3 kids and a Bayliss.
He's kind of about 3.5, right? That's funny.
Oh, it was so
How's
great
Sam
to
Sutton
hang out.
doing?
I hung out with him on Mother's Day. I hung out with his kids too. I've just been hanging out. I'm Uncle Andy now, dude.
That's funny.
I'm more of an Uncle Andy with the Umphrey McGee kids than I am with my own
I know.
fucking kids. Not like I have kids, but like my
They
sister's
actually want
kids.
you around their kids, I guess, is the difference.
And everyone, all the kids don't call me Andy. They call me Andy Frasco.
I like that.
Andy
Proper name.
Frasco, will you play catch with me? I'm like, yes, kids, I will.
Why do they call? I wonder why they call you that. Because it's just your stage name. Or
Yeah.
something?
I mean, it's my full name.
Have they seen you play music?
By the way, this studio is now brought to you by Volume.com. This is the
Wow.
Volume.com Denver studio, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Volume. We
did
changed
it.
the logos. We did it. We made the studio sponsored by Volume.com.
Yeah.
I took a meeting with St. Jude
I know, I was
Children's
there.
Hospital. That was great.
Yeah.
I was surprised they wanted to work with us.
Yeah, it's weird. Something's got to be up with that.
No, they said we listened to
just
your
kidding.
podcast. They said you are the voice of the people.
Yeah, it's true. I just thought maybe we'd be a little too raunchy for them.
I thought so too. I'm like,
I think
I'm
they're
like, did you
willing to-
really listen to the podcast? She's like, oh yeah, like, yeah, we listened to all of them. I think your questions are spot on. We didn't like the opening so much when you're talking about cum and drugs, but you're mature enough to take that out of your dialogue here pretty
Yeah,
soon.
for sure.
But speaking of that, I was having fun. I've been having fun on this fucking.
Been partying?
I've been partying, but not because, like I said before, I'm like managing my own band.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm taking meetings every week, all day, every day. Boat saw me just fuck. We were working. We were working all day,
It's good.
and then I'd stop my phone calls at 7:00 and have when doors were open, and became a blue collar musician.
Meanwhile, your band's just fucking off in the green room, eating snacks, wondering when they get paid. Asking for a raise, probably. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, shout out to Florida. That was great. Shout out to the Peoria. That was sensational. I didn't realize, like you put your nose to the ground to fucking work all the time. You don't realize like people are also there to hear my songs. And I was like playing slow songs.
Yeah.
And they're singing every fucking song.
It's better with acoustic.
Yeah, it was cool.
Slow songs.
And
the
Bayliss was
energy's
like,
there.
I was like, are you sure you guys want to play more Umphrey's McGee songs? And he's like, no, let's showcase your tunes. I'm like,
These are way easier. Let's play these.
we did play R. Kelly Ignition. I thought we were going to get canceled for it. But
Why?
I don't know. You're not supposed to play R. Kelly.
Yeah, but the song didn't do anything.
The song is great. Ignition is so good. And I forgot that R. Kelly was from Chicago, so everyone in Illinois was just going ape shit for that
Separate
song.
the art from the artist, I guess.
And then we went in, we did the very jam band thing and went into Dave Chappelle Piss on You.
Who thought of all these songs?
I did.
Bayliss?
Me and Bayliss. That's why we went. I haven't had band practice with my band. This is the most I've ever band practiced ever.
Yeah, so what? You
I had
just,
2 days of band practice
Oh, that's
before
what
we
you.
had the
I was
show.
wondering when you learned all this shit. Okay, that explains it.
Yeah.
was like,
and it was stressing me out, this acoustic show.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I was stressed
Did you
out.
backline a keyboard?
I used Joel's.
stole
Joel,
it?
I couldn't believe Joel let me use his keyboard.
Joel's super nice.
He is. He came out to our Jazz Fest show, wrote a nice letter saying like, man, that show is so great. I didn't expect that out of you.
Like it's kind of nice.
That's kind of nice. He's like,
Like a
I'm like,
Civil
what
War.
did you expect out of me then?
You know what they expect. What you were 10 years ago.
Yeah. Everyone judges me from what I did 10 years ago.
Well, that's what happens to people.
It sucks.
Try being in a band that broke up because of their band name 10 years ago. You don't think I get hipped? Speaking of that, I played.
There he is. Oh yeah, you went to Indiana.
I played a set with the old Cosby Sweater Bros, and nobody but very special people got to see it because it was private.
Ooh, because it was a wedding.
People were jealous online.
Really?
There's a lot of people, they're like, do it again. I'm like,
Hold on, you did a Cosby Sweater reunion at the wedding?
Yeah, like a half-hour little thing.
Did you guys play Cosby Sweater songs?
Yeah.
Did you call yourselves Cosby
We
Sweater?
didn't like call ourselves anything. It was just a private party. We just got up there.
Congratulations on your marriage. We're Cosby Sweater.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. That was fun. I got to play it sleepy, and
How's it feel playing sax again?
it was good. I also finished my album last week. I'm getting a lot done.
Look at you.
I've been working on some projects.
Did you miss me?
I was kind of busy, so
Just say it.
sure, man.
The fans want to know that you missed me.
They do.
Yeah. They're like, where's Nick? I'm
I
like,
think they miss me. They love me out there.
I think they miss you.
Refreshingly honest, I saw on Instagram. I was like, it doesn't get. Be
Chill,
around
all
me a
right,
little
chill,
longer.
chill with the
I was
Nick
about to make-
compliments.
I was about to make fun of myself. I was like,
All my fans, chill with the
it's
Nick
refreshing
compliments.
until it's not refreshing, and then
like,
it's just
damn.
honesty. You scared of me? You should meet my sister.
Speaking of honesty, Denver, Colorado, we have a very special announcement.
Oh yeah,
We're doing another live podcast at Ophelia's.
we're running it back.
We're running it back.
June,
June 19th.
which is
It's a holiday, Juneteenth.
it's on Monday.
It's a Wednesday
Oh, okay.
or a Thursday. But we have a great lineup. So everyone, when we had to reschedule it for the snowstorm of the great snowstorm
Yeah,
of Denver,
that was
Colorado.
terrible.
We couldn't get Sam Talent or
Yes.
Josh Blue on it, but we have them back. So we have a killer lineup for you. Actually, let's talk about it. June 19th, Ophelia's. Tickets are on sale now.
We actually had the lineup this time.
We actually have the lineup without last second. And it's really great because it's Rolling Stones and Widespread Panic weekend. So not only do we have
No, I'm just kidding.
we got Mick Jagger on it. We have Josh Blue, amazing comedian from Denver, from
Legendary.
Americans Got Talent and Last Comic Standing. We have Sam Talent, who just got off tour with Tim Dillon. Amazing comedian from Colorado. He's blowing up. He was on Joe Rogan. He's just getting huge. He has
He
a
is
travel
talent.
show on YouTube now.
It's pretty good. I watched one episode.
It's fucking
of it.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's really. They edited it really well, nice and short.
And we have a couple of musical guests. We have Mr. Carl Denson from the Rolling Stones. Yes, big show.
Oh my god!
And another special guest. He says he doesn't want to be announced, but we're going to announce
Why
him
does he want to be announced?
because he wants to be surprised. But he's in a band called Widespread Panic.
It's
That's
a
all I'm going to
surprise
say.
now.
It's a surprise. I won't tell you which guy, but you
Yeah.
might know who.
Yeah,
He's one of our closest friends.
it's not Jimmy Herring.
It's going to be great. And then the house band,
Peanut.
Shawn Eccles' world saving house band this year is really great. Jeremy Sulkin from Big Gigantic. Ross James from Phil Lesch's band.
There's a lot of good.
And we got two sax players. Carl Denton's going to be in the house band.
1.5 sax players.
And Nicholas Gerlach. And, of course, Shawn Eccles.
Do not make me battle Charles Denson.
I'm going to make you battle him
No,
for
I'm not
10
trying to get
minutes.
dunked.
You are going to get dunked on.
That's all right.
Or the people who says, I need you in my life so much that to keep me honest, keep me humble. We're going to keep you humble.
I already know that he's better than me. He's in the Rolling Stones, Andy.
I still have my money on you. I think
I'm better than people think I am. I'm starting to realize.
you're a damn good sax player.
Yeah, but people, it's not my thing that I'm known for right now. But it's all right.
It's going to be awesome.
Carl's a very good guy. He wouldn't make it competitive. We'd probably just end up making beautiful music together.
Yes. And we will be streaming it live from Ophelia's on volume.com. Shout out to volume.com. We're about to launch our Patreon through volume.com here pretty soon. We're almost
so it's not
in
really
gears.
a Patreon. It's a subscription
It's a
service.
subscription service.
It's like calling Kleenex versus tissues, right? Damn, Patreon really corner the market there that you're calling the
I don't know. It's like calling I don't know. What else is in
tissues
that?
and Kleenex. Yeah. The thing I just said.
So head over
Denzel's here.
June 19th. Grab your tickets. We're only doing 300 tickets, so tickets
That's
are
not that
limited.
many, guys.
No, we sell it out every time in Denver. So
Very
get
quickly.
your tickets. But volume.com. Head to volume.com, guys. Also, we need you
Is
to.
Sam going to do the opening like what Todd Glass used
I
to do?
think Sam is going to do 20 minutes of stand up first.
That's perfect.
Oh yeah, he's going to crush it.
He's like great. He's a great comedian at that. Like he's like he can do any room in any situation. I feel like because I've
Yeah.
seen him do comedy. Here, what's it called here? Comedy Works. Saw him
Right.
do the theater.
Right.
I watched his special. He's just like, he kind of can fit anywhere.
Yeah.
He's just funny.
So in preparation of our subscription model, we're not going to do it for a few months. We want people to see what we're going to be giving the people first.
Okay.
So head to volume.com/Andy Frasco. Click
up.
on the like page on our page. Sign up, and you'll get the subscription for
It's like
free.
a trial, but you don't have to give us your card.
You don't have to give it. No, just you're going to see the content.
It'll
You're
just
going to be
turn
like,
off.
yeah, and you'll see the content. and You'll realize how hard we've been working on this new content. You're going to get a new episode of Nick and Andy. You're going to get Nick doing. I'm going to do
Whatever.
coffees on Mondays where I'm going to have live streams and talk to everyone, see how their days are going. Then Nick is going to totally say fuck that and give
do
you
whatever.
pessimism Tuesdays.
Yeah. Or maybe some trivia stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of shit, and then we're gonna be putting some board mixes up there from our shows on tour, from the Pigeons Playing Ping Pong tour. We got Denzel in the building too. Come on, Denny, what's up?
buddy. Hop up
We have Denzel here. Come on,
Hop up. Get on the
Denzel.
show,
Welcome
dude.
to the show, bud.
There he is.
Nick's dog is here, just
So
vibing.
watch the video. Get on volume.
Human Xanax.
You want to see a fucking cool dog.
We want it if you.
He's large.
When we do the subscription model, we want people to subscribe so we could get Denzel a gold chain.
Dude, he would look so good in a gold chain.
Oh my
against that
god,
guy.
with his black fur.
You hear him grunting?
Aw. So head to volume.com/Andy Frasco. Hit that like button. But also head to volume.com regardless. There's so many good live streams. They just did Beach Life Festival with Sting. And
He has
Sting's on
sex
the
for
live
12
stream.
hours.
I mean, dude, that man can fuck.
Well, he says he does.
Isn't it crazy that man can fuck that well?
He says he does.
I believe him.
I believe him too. You wouldn't say it that confidently.
He's like, yes, I take ecstasy and make love with my women
I'm British.
and I'm British, so
I have a weird loot.
I don't lie. Brits don't lie.
That's true.
I don't think British people lie.
We don't need to.
don't
We
need
own
to.
everything.
And not anymore. And then next week we start the Pigeons, Frasco,
Oh, yeah.
Dogs in the Pile tour. Selling out good. I think we're almost
Yeah?
sold out in Westport, Connecticut. We're almost sold out in a lot of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
That'll be a fun tour.
There's a couple duds so far. Kentucky, where the fuck you at? Newport, Kentucky. I don't even know where the fuck
It's
Newport
Cincinnati,
is.
basically.
Cincinnati? What? Let me fucking...
Or wait, am I thinking of Florence? No, it's Newport. Yeah, there's like a airport there. Yeah, it's right over there.
Cincinnati, come on, step it up. I'm always worried about Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's a weird market.
They always just like buy tickets last minute or just don't show up.
They love Taft, the president.
Oh, yeah? Why?
He's from there.
Oh, shout out to
That's why everything's
President
named after Taft.
Oh, cool.
William Howard Taft.
So grab your tickets for the Dogs in the Pile Frasco Pigeons tour.
Mm-hmm.
VIP's almost sold out.
What does VIP get you?
You get to hang out with me. Take a picture with us, every band member. I'm going to go take shots with them. I think you get special edition merch. I think because I'm playing second out of 3, that then you
Every
get to
night?
hang out with me. Yeah, I'm so excited.
It's kind of
I
fun.
don't have to close every night. God, I'm so fucking
Closing
excited.
sucks, dude. A 3-band show.
Closing sucks on a 3-band
It makes sense
bill.
to have the jam band kind of last, though.
Yeah, and pigeons are
Let them
bigger, and
throw
let
their
them
party.
fucking throw their party.
The little dance party after your little some sad thing.
I've been internet
Where am
fighting with this troll. He's
Who?
calling me an addict. Am I an addict?
Addicted to what? What's he saying?
I don't know. He
specifically?
says I'm just an addict.
He's probably an addict and he's just projecting.
I hate when people like take pictures like next to the brand new car they have.
Oh my
or,
god, I
like,
hate shit like that.
They're like, all earned.
It's so
all
corny.
earned. It's so corny.
It's like you're leasing it, dude. Shut the fuck up. Cool, man. You're leasing a Hyundai Elantra. Sit the fuck down, dude. Nobody earned anything in this country. It's all just scams, and I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Some people do.
But yeah, we have a great show tonight.
Not the people that post about it though.
Joe Gatto, comedian from Impractical
Legendary
Jokers.
prank man.
Legendary prank man. He's huge. I didn't realize how big he is.
That show's massive. I never got
That
into
show's
it, but it's
fucking massive.
They're pranksmen. Although
Yeah.
he's not on it anymore, actually. Is he?
No, he's going solo.
He left.
But like he also like sells out like
Yeah, he's doing good on
he
his own.
sells out huge rooms.
He's got that draw.
I think he sold out the Beacon Theater just by himself. I'm like, let's go, Joe.
Doing
Shout
stand-up?
out.
They're just pranking the audience with different stuff.
Comedians sell tickets, dude.
I know, it's hot right now. It'll fall
Comedians are hot. They sell. Comedians are.
They're very popular right now, I think because of the pandemic, but music will come back, I hope.
Yeah. I mean, it's slowly coming back. I mean, we just sold out a fucking acoustic show.
How many? What was cap there? You all right, bud?
We sold 500 tickets.
Damn, dude.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, and it sold out in advance.
You guys had good writers for that show, I heard.
Yeah, you did help us with the fucking trivia. I got a good laughs. I got good laughs.
Well,
You did have a couple of spelling errors that I fucked up on.
Well, I was doing. Oh, yeah, I forgot you can't read. I should have been better about that. I just did it real fast. So what got the biggest laugh? I'm just curious.
The biggest laugh was
The Joel one, maybe?
No, when you said, "I just want everyone to know that me and Brandon talk before I go to bed," and that's not a question. I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
I forgot
"Damn,
about
Nick,
that
that
one.
was funny."
I forgot about that one.
And then the Ryan Stasic one killed.
The one about him playing sports?
Yeah, or the one about
How he lets it.
who did he lose his virginity to? And then Bayliss is like himself. I was like, Bayliss is funny, dude.
Bayliss is funny as shit.
I did jam with him once, and he was impressed. He's like, "You're jamming." I'm like, "I'm fucking jamming."
Was he impressed because it's good or because he expected so little?
He expected so little of my piano playing. I'm like,
Whatever. You never claimed to be some great piano player.
I told him that too. I'm like, if you're expecting, I'm like, Bayliss threw up when he realized that I was his piano player for this kid. He threw up before the show.
He did?
I mean, yeah, we were partying pretty hard because
He
we
threw
didn't.
up?
Yeah, he has like a
tummy issue?
a little tummy issue, and we were just like we were
more
drinking.
like-
We drank like 4 bottles of wine and just sat in his basement and just like giggled. And
Sounds like he had like
then
heartburn almost.
our boy Ralphie came over.
I know Ralphie.
Ralphie's
I know
a
what happens when
fucking
Ralphie
man.
comes.
He's a fucking man.
Is he back in Chicago?
No, but he just
Michigan.
showed up to hang out.
I like him. He's a good guy.
He's a
Are you going to
fucking
go to
man.
Umphrey's at Red Rocks?
Yes, we should go together.
I'm going to go with you, yeah.
All right, cool. It'll be fun.
I think Julie might be working, so
Oh, cool.
we can call her the help while we walk by. Well, she's making...
All right, guys. So next week, it's just Nick and I. We're going to talk for an hour.
We're going to talk all kinds of shit. Send in
I
your
got
topics.
so much tea. Yeah, send us your topics.
We're gonna do it
Text.
tomorrow before they even hear this.
Send us your topics. No, this is coming out tomorrow.
I know, but we're going to... Okay, you're right.
So
Yeah.
when
we can always record it
when
Thursday.
we release it Thursday or whatever, when we record our episode Thursday or whatever, we'll have topics. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. And then I'm on tour again for a couple weeks. I'm almost done with all these tours.
Yeah, the rhythm's good right now, though. We're getting stuff done, then you go, then you come back.
Yeah, and you're like kind of like my podcast producer now down there with
know.
Noah and Brian. You don't like it, huh?
It's okay. I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, the scheduling. I
I
on
figured it
your
out.
ass
It just
about
took a minute to figure out the numbers and where everything.
Yeah.
It's a weird Zoom doesn't interface that well.
no,
with
we're
Google.
gonna change it up. Marty said we're gonna change it
Oh,
up.
sick! Why don't we just have Marty do it then?
He is, but he hasn't.
The
he-
scheduling.
He has, been on the ball as much either.
Well, he's new.
Yeah,
the
and
whole
like
thing.
I don't want to
I get it.
overload him.
Yeah, we'll get him in on it though.
All right, guys, enjoy Joe Gatto, and we'll catch you next week when we actually have a lot to talk to you about.
Like what? Girls?
Girls, and I haven't been hooking up with anybody.
Good.
That's good.
Give your tired old dick a break. Got like a fucking.
It's extremely tired.
Your dick is steampunk now.
All right, goodbye. 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 What's up, Joe? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
What's the word on the street?
The word is happening.
What's Staten Island like?
Well, when I lived there, growing up, I think it was a little different than it is now. I'm out on Long Island now, but when I was living there, it was very neighborhoody. It was very like you played in people's backyards. I might have been a sign of the times too, but it was more of like people had houses at all the boroughs. People weren't playing on the streets as much as they were in the backyards. You played on the streets too, but you weren't playing like stickball like you were in Brooklyn or anything like that. So it was like more backyards, people, manhunt at night. All your friends came over. I grew up in an Italian house. My mom would have an extra plate for dinner. Whoever wanted to come eat. Open door policy would come eat. And I met the boys at a all-boy Catholic high school in Staten Island where I went. I went to Monsignor Farrell, which is an all-boy Catholic high school. And that's where I met the guys when I was freshman year, 14 years old. And been friends with them ever since. So
Were you super religious? Like, was your family super religious, or?
no, I wouldn't say super. I mean, just, Roman Catholic, Italian, Staten Island basics. I went to Catholic grammar school, and then I went to a Catholic high school. And then after that, I went to non-religious affiliated college. And ever since then, but we grew up with the standard, went to church on Sundays, the big, Easter, Christmas, stuff like that. And then just I was an altar boy, like all good Staten Island Italians are.
So what's your relationship with guilt?
Pretty, it was pretty healthy for a while. But I did like, I did like certain things that you got from religion. Like growing up, I definitely, and still, like good moral code, I think gave you a compass.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I married, my wife is Muslim. Non-practicing Muslim. I'm non-practicing Catholic. So my daughter and son are just growing up with two parents that just teach them try to be good kids, like good people, like being kind and all that. So it's kind of just like an interesting thing when you have kids. You really think about like what you grew up and what you think about it. And it all just comes down to, I think, just trying not to be a piece of shit human.
Right, exactly.
That's basically every religious thing. It's like just don't be a complete piece of shit.
Yeah.
More eloquently placed, of course, by different people and more eloquently said. But I mean, that's the basis.
How do you still have that? How do you still have that philosophy while working in the entertainment industry?
Yeah, that's the toughest part, man. I think you find like-minded individuals. I think it's got a bad rap, but there is a lot of. I think it happens. Like it all depends when you enter it. For me, I was 34 years old when I got, famous on TV or whatever. It was around that, and because it was always just a hobby on the side. And you're already the man you're going to be, the person you're going to be. You have a good foundation. Things get thrown at you and you just handle them as best you can. I always say the best thing that ever happened was that I was going through with my best friends, because there was no like, you had a moral compass with your friends, like your friends keeping you grounded, but you also had like the thing where there was not really any jealousy. Like you weren't telling your best friends, oh, I was just on, I was just in Madison Square Garden to the show. Well, like they were there with you. You were all experiencing the ride together. So you really had like I don't know if there's many people in the industry that had the experience that the four of us did, because we were happening with like our true friends. Like it was a true just friendship on a ride, so I think that definitely changes the whole experience for me.
Yeah, it's got to, because I've been in a band for 15 years with my best friends, and it's kind of it's kind of the same thing, but we're living in a van, and smelling everybody and fucking, it's like seeing everyone's drug problems and stuff, like you never really drank or anything, right?
Yeah, never been drunk, tried a drug or a cigarette in my life. Just on natural crazy, and everybody's always thought I've been completely out of my mind, so I don't think I ever needed it. It was never a barrier for entry for me. Like I was like having my mind right. I always liked being able to be quick and handle, and I'm kind of like a Papa Bear. Like I wanted to make sure everybody was okay, taking care of my friends and whatnot, so that's just my the way I was ingrained, and I never needed it socially. And then growing up, I didn't have the money to be thrown around on it. You didn't really, like in college and whatnot, you didn't really have the money to be able to, be spending the money on it. And you'd have a little bit more money in your pocket. You'd have a little bit more, clear ahead the next day. I just never really got into it.
Yeah, I feel that it's beautiful. Who taught you that sober life was the way to be?
That was my dad really was like, told me. I lost my dad when I was 19, and he always said to me, I don't have to worry about you being a good guy, a good boy, and I just, for some reason, I associated that with not getting into trouble with drugs or alcohol and whatnot. And, he didn't have a drinking problem or anything, him or my mother or anything. It was just like, I just associated it with that. And then when it got to a certain point, I just didn't do it. And then I didn't need it. And then it was like a badge of honor where I was like, oh, I never had to do it. And then I was just like, okay, it's too late. I'm not going to do it now. I have no desire to, so.
Who was the main inspiration to make you love comedy? Who were your guys when you were growing up?
I was big. I was a big movie guy, comedic movie guy. I would say Mel Brooks was probably my biggest. I used to watch comedies with my dad. Young Frankenstein. Blazing Saddles. Airplane. That kind of comedy. That kind of slapsticky kind of comedy. The Zucker Brothers. It was really just like movies more than anything. And then there's some TV too, like Tim Allen. I used to watch Home Improvement. The Tim Allen show. The first stand-up comedy show I've ever saw was Tim Allen's. My dad showed me that, which was fun, and we bonded over that. But I always appreciated movies, comedy in the form of movies more than anything. And then I got into TV a little bit more. And then when I found my career in TV, that was a big thing for me. And now that I'm in stand-up, I really appreciate that art form too. I just love, entertainment and making people laugh, whatever the medium is, So I just really enjoy it. And stand-up has become like a new love for me.
Yeah. What about when you're with the Tenderloins? Like, did you like that process better than liking writing? Like, you wrote a film, you did stand up. What's the different process between making sketch videos versus writing a year of specials? You know.
I mean, comedy by, there's a double-edged sword. It's nice to collaborate with people, get insight from other people. And then also, when you're not out there by yourself, but then also none of your ideas die when you're doing it by yourself. You get talked out of ideas, or you find out they're not as funny as you thought before they even got a chance to fly. So I think that's the main difference. But I've always been collaborative. I always liked that. That was the biggest transition for me when I took stand-up stage by myself, because I traveled with the guys, and we did our live show playing everywhere from the Garden to the O2, and everywhere in between. And I'd always been on stage with other people. So when I started stand-up 2 years ago, and I took that stage in Appleton, Wisconsin by myself, that was like a real, it's on you for 60 minutes. Good luck. So it was like kind of a different experience.
So what's the approach you have when you're by yourself on stage versus with your brothers?
I think you find your voice pretty quickly. For me, I'm a storyteller. Even in the group shows, I was always like a storyteller. Like, I would tell a story about my life or growing up or whatever, because I've had a pretty crazy ride, and it's been pretty, a lot of fun, crazy things have happened along the way for me. And I think like I became a storyteller. And then when I was on stage, I was able to give a little bit more insight on me. It was less a distraction, more of a focus on, this is my personality, what makes me tick. Or, I would, and not necessarily preachy, but I would tell stories that gave a reflection on my thought process and like how I think, like parenting with my kids. Like, that's a big thing about how, like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm trying my best because I had good parents, and I'm like trying to follow suit as I can, so like this started stuff like that I wouldn't necessarily talk about with the group, because that really wasn't prevalent in that dynamic, so when you're by yourself, you get into different parts of yourself, different things you're focusing on and talking about.
Yeah. Like, how do you turn on funny when you're going through trauma? What about 2021, like with your wife and stuff? Like,
yeah, that was tough, man. That was tough, because like sometimes I didn't even want to get on stage. I was just sitting back in the green room by myself, being like, this is my life right now. Like, what happened kind of deal, you're thinking about it all. But then you get out there. I've always had the purpose. Like, I've always felt like laughter heals. I always laugh about everything. I make the jokes about anything. Like, everybody knows me. When the tragedy of my parents dying young, and all that stuff. I'll always talk about it and make fun of it. And I even used it in the show. I'd bring skeletons on and be like, oh, my mom's here. Like, the boys would always be like, oh, we'd all laugh. And I'd always laugh through it all. But I think for me, it was just like, I'm here to make people laugh. That's my purpose. I'm here to bring joy and spread kindness and joy. So when I do that, I feel good. So the way to heal yourself, I guess, or to go through what you're going through, is to make yourself feel good. And for me, that's how I did it. It was, by making people laugh and enjoying it, because no matter how bad you have it, I'd always remember, like, people have it worse, or not that you should compare yourself, but just remember, like, there are some things to make you go through it each day. My kids are healthy, and, you think about little things that you've got that'll keep you going. So I think that was a big thing. I was a lot of pep talks, a lot of pep talks to myself in the mirror, a lot like, all right, you got this kind of stuff, and leaning on people close in my inner circle and true friends,
Yeah, a lot. I'm surprised you didn't fucking start drinking, bro.
I always joked with Q. I was like, wouldn't it be fun, hysterical that like I all of a sudden I'm like, it's all over, and I just ripping these cocaine benders, and I'm just drinking, and I turn into, I'm like 125 pounds.
Yeah, there he is, Cocaine Joe.
There he is. Here we go. This is why he's never done it.
A lot of people quitting later in their life. Joe, you're just getting started,
flip it.
baby.
I'm starting it up. I feel like I have to stop this life. I'm like, I'm just getting started, baby. Yeah.
What did you have anyone close in your life that kind of gave you advice through your separation?
Not necessarily about the separation, but just people raising their hand, letting you know that they're there for you. I had a couple really good, my sisters, my one sister in particular, and my other sister too. They were just, I'm pretty tight with my siblings, so that helped, and they are very close to Bessie and me, and we're a pretty open family. So we always had that. But then I had like some friends, even some older friends that came like not out of the woodwork, but it's funny because it all happens in waves, right? Like what you're going through, people that you don't even know or you knew, and they're at your age, are kind of going through that kind of thing too. So I had some people reach out, and I just had a couple friends that were just like, hey, I'm here for you. Let's talk. My cousin, people like that. That was good. So, it was a small troop, but a strong one.
Yeah. And it's got to be difficult to ask for help when you've been so busy and you probably haven't been there for some people, earlier in your career,
For sure.
It can't be like,
I'd always try to, like, I think that's another benefit of it happening later in life. Like, you have your relationships already that are going to be strong in your life. They're really solidified. So when you're doing these things, like, you dip in and out of these friendships. And I really think that's a guy thing too, like where you could just pick up where you left off, or especially with some of the guys in my life where we just like get back together and be like, hey, just, and my life is pretty public. So they'd be able to follow up on me. Like, they see what's happening. My life is pretty out there. So it's not like a mystery what's happening with me.
yeah.
But like when I started the stand-up career, like a lot of my friends came out to support, which was really cool because it was just me, which was a little different, which was fun. Even the fan base, like it was fans of me. Like, it wasn't like when I was doing the show with the guys, sometimes you just felt like, okay, shut up. I'm a fan of Sal. Let him talk. As you're trying to tell your story, when is Murr going to go? But people just staring at you and you're like, okay, we get it, so, but to have people come out just to be fans of me and to grow my fan base in a different way, that's been so cool at this point to really connect with them in a different way.
Do the other guys get jealous that your stand-up career is popping off?
No, there's no jealousy there ever. I mean, their TV career is going strong, So.
Yeah, they're like, they see that check. They're like, all right, Joe, keep doing what you got to do, brother.
Yeah. I mean, they know I got to do what I got to do out here. Like, what am I going to do? They know that I'm, I'm out here. I've always made them laugh, so I think they know I'm pretty good at it. But it was good because like Sal and Murr Q and Murr came to see me at the Beacon. At my Beacon show, which I just did, and it was really cool. And in true Sal fashion, his car got in a flat, and he couldn't get there in time because he leaves me the longest. I was about to go on stage. It's one of those. He does those annoying voice to when you do your voice to memo, the voice memo messages that you have to listen to. It shows up. It says 9 minutes and 22 seconds. I'm like, this guy's kidding me. I'm about to take stage at the Beacon. I'm like, I'm not listening to your 9 minute. So I go on. I do the whole show. Q and Murr come out, say hello. They were great. After it was really nice that they were there. They said some really nice stuff on and off stage. And then after, like, I listened, and Sal is just like, dude, and he just goes into the whole story, and he's just like wishing me all this luck. And he was like, at the same time, he's just like cursing and pissed off that that he can't be there. It's like this whole thing, which is really, and I'm like, of course, that's Sal. Like, that's what happens in his life,
So
yeah, but they're super supportive, and I go and support them. I popped out on a couple of their shows. If we're in the same town, like I popped on the Sal show when he was in Birmingham, Alabama, and I was performing not too far away in Atlanta or something, so I was able to get there. So we support each other.
How do you? What's your approach on a work and life balance? Because I know you work so much. I do too. I just very fascinated on. Do you ever just like take a break and stop, or do you need to work this much to feel like whole?
I don't know if I need to work this hard to feel whole. I will say I have a way better handle on it now, because it's just me calling the shots. Like, I'm not. You're in charge of your own schedule. You figure it out when you need to not go to stuff. And like, I'm here for my kids to drop them off at school in the morning, do their homework at 3:00. Even when I'm working the weekends, it's funny because like I have one job now, or even some other side hustle stuff I'm doing, which feels like another job, but it's all like on your own thing. And if your kid wants you to, you want to make your kid's game or, do something, or they ask you to play, you could play, so it's a totally different thing. Or I take my wife to lunch, or, I'll be home for dinner and stuff like that. So it's just like a little different that way. But I will say there's no balance. Like it's an illusion. You try to put the right thing in the right spot. Like you gotta have the sunshine on different parts each time. And I think that's the best you can do. And the thing I found, which it was a big flaw of mine, was I wasn't present when I was there. My body was there, but I was just thinking about a million different things, or in my phone, reviewing whatever, or planning out a schedule, whatever, as I'm trying to do something, and it's not. So now, like, I focus on that. And I think that's the easiest way to get balance is if you have 5 minutes to spend with your kid, spend 5 minutes with your kid.
Right.
And that's it. You're with your kid. You know what I mean? So I think that's big. And that's all it is. That is, those 5 minutes make that kid's day. Like, I'll talk about at night, when we were with my son, I'm tucking him in and we're talking about anything, and he'll just be like, his favorite part of the day was whatever. And, we're talking about that. And I was there for that part of the day. I just really think it's about being present. That's the easiest way to get balance, which I think also is unattainable. But to feel balanced, I would say, is to make sure you're present when you're there.
Do you feel like the separation helped you have this new clear thought?
1,000%. Yeah, 100%. I was like, when I came home from right before COVID, I came home from tour. And my 5-year-old daughter at the time, I walked in the door. She came me a big hug and she's like, "Daddy, I love when you come to visit." And I was like,
Oh my
like,
god!
what, right? It's like hysterical and heart wrenching at the same time, right? It's like, oh my God. And I was like, wow, I'm not doing something right here, And then the world shut down, everything starts happening, a lot of stuff happened in my personal life. And it's like, okay, now what? And then I'm separated. And it was the first time ever in my life that I lived alone. Like, isn't that crazy? Shit. Like, I always had a roommate or I was living at home with my parents, and it's the first time ever. And I'm at my house in my apartment down like 10 minutes from my home in this apartment by myself. And I was like, wow, it was such a wake-up call.
Yeah, what was that? What was that in your? How'd you get through that, man? That's got to be tough. Depression?
Yeah, I would say a touch of it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty optimistic guy, and pretty much I try not to let myself go down, but I know I went through a lot of dark times of like thinking about all of it and, therapy and all that stuff. And it was just like, it's such a shift, right? It's such a shift. Like it's like the car gets thrown in park from going 80 miles an hour, just, which is really, really tough. And, but then, I always said, I felt buried under a bunch of rocks. And I was like, let me just move one to get a little more light in here. And that's what you had to do. You had to start moving one at a time. And it just took me a long time to get through it. So,
were you ever suicidal?
No. I don't think I'm built that way. I felt desperate at times. And like, I definitely felt like career suicidal. Like, oh, this is it. I could never get back to doing the way I was or feel the way I was about what I had to offer the world, Yeah. And then I was like, I can't let that was a big motivator for me too. Two things, like I got to pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I got to get out there and make money. I got bills to pay, but the other thing too was like, I can't let this part of me die. I can't let this, I can't let this part of me die. I got to because that's what fuels me as far as like what I feel like my purpose is. And I enjoy it genuinely, like selfishly. I enjoy helping people get through their tough times, So it's like, all right, even though I'm going through this tough time, let's go. And in the beginning, it was super therapeutic to be out there and making people laugh and just saying, I'd hear from people like at the meet and greets after my shows or when I met them or just talk on my DMs. It would just be like, people would be like, thank you so much for still doing what you're doing. You're getting me through this, even though you are. And it just fueled the fire. So,
yeah. I wonder if and because you've been working in such a group setting your whole fucking career, that if you would have started stand up by yourself, maybe it would have been less of a tougher time when you were finally alone in your apartment,
100%. Because I was alone in my profession, in my personal life, like literally that was it. It was like me and my 2 dogs that I took.
Was that the darkest time of your life, you think?
To this point, probably, yeah. Yeah, I would say that. I mean, losing my dad was kind of tough. Was kind of a tough time too, and it was dealing with loss and a big loss. That, but my dad kind of went quick. He got cancer, and then he was gone 6 months later, and it was just like it was a hell of a 6 months. We did a lot of stuff together. And
how old were you?
I was 19. I just turned 19.
Oh shit, that young?
Yeah. So, and it's crazy to think about the impact, and that really what drives me as a dad too. Like, I look back now and I'm like, I was such not the father I should be or would have been. Right. And like, that's the biggest thing that I'm happy about with this course correction was like the family because I grew up in such a family and I'm such a family guy. Like I love family and I'm all about it. And just to see it fall to the way and to not see it fall to the wayside as bad as it was. And then just be like, oh, and then, coming back and feeling happy and genuinely like, this is great again. Like that's the coolest part of it for me right now.
Yeah, and dude, I didn't even think of that. Like you've always had family. Like you've always had this idea of family, and then like you follow your dream, and like your career, your internal life is fucking popping off, and then you forgot about the family.
Yeah, totally.
It's gotta be tough.
Or it's more like you don't know how to balance both of them because it was such a meteoric, crazy ride that it was like. You don't communicate. You think like, oh, everything's fine, but it's not. Yeah. And then you're like, you think, I mean, that was the biggest thing as far as relationship goes between me, anybody that you're a partner with. And I tell people, ask me all the time, it's like, oh, what is like some of the relationship stuff that you have? And I was like, hands down, it's like, no matter how much you care about somebody or think about somebody, everybody thinks, oh, they know me so well. They know what I'm thinking. And it's like, no, nobody does unless you say it. Unless you say it doesn't matter how good somebody knows you. They don't know what you're thinking. So you need to say it. And I think that was a big part of it. It was just like, I wasn't saying what I was thinking, or listening to the words that were being said and thinking that what they were like, interpreting what people were saying instead of listening to what people were saying. So it's just different.
Yeah, and in our heads, we're thinking, oh, we're supporting this family financially or whatever. We're working hard, but we forget that, oh, shit, we have to communicate with people.
I know. Spend time. Like, how could you not be happy? Like, what are you talking about?
It's like, you see this house? You see this family? You see all these our kid just got a Prada bag.
Are you crazy? Like, what are you crazy? Yeah, and it wasn't even necessarily stuff. It was just kind of like way of life. We were able to go on vacations together. And like, the vacation family was great, of course, and then when you're on the road so much, it's like you don't want to ruin anything. You're only home for, 3 days. So you don't want those to be bad 3 days. So you try to make them as best you can by bottling up what's bothering you. And that doesn't help, and then, eventually just percolates. And then you have these big blowouts and they get harder to recover from. And so I just think that's a huge part of it. It's like, people always like communication is key. And I'm like, it doesn't really sound, it just sounds so cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Like you have to talk about what's bugging you. You have to listen to what people are telling you is bugging them. I think it's important.
And, I'm a Jewish/Catholic man, and I was just always learned to suppress everything. Just fucking don't fucking talk. Just fucking marinate. Let that thing turn into a cancer.
It'll kill you eventually. It'll be fine.
And I think that's what's. I'm glad we're finally talking about our feelings. As men have hard times talking about their feelings. I think it's just like we're supposed to be this strong fucking character in everyone's life, and we're fucking human too.
Yeah, I think when you get the right people in your life that care about you, they'll make you talk about it too. Like, like my sisters are big, like, like that. Or, even my wife is like, when we made our, comeback, it was like the first thing was like, all right, I'm going to say stuff to you and you're going to say stuff to me. And that's it. Right. And that's what it's going to be. And it's been so much better just to live that way. It's just like, how the heck will we live in the other way?
Yeah, it's like, damn. 40 years and not talking? I know. Like, what the fuck? And like,
that works. This is why it works. Okay, I get it.
But like, it's so funny because you're a comedian. You're born to tell stories and, interpret life.
Yeah, for sure. Why? You see it through a lens, and then when you're the main character, it's different.
Yeah, dude. It's so scary to be the main character, right? But like, sometimes you have to do it in your own life. Sometimes I don't know. I always think about this too because I'm 15 years into my career, been doing 250 shows a year, and I wasn't man enough to fucking even try to have a relationship. Like you had the balls to actually get married and fucking have kids and shit, dude.
Yeah. Like, and the first one out of us, so like it was like totally different. I was living I had a different set of challenges that came along with it all, and then I didn't necessarily embrace that. I tried to ignore it. And that was the problem.
Yeah, and like your those are your brothers fighting the good fight with you, and they couldn't even console you because they had no idea what the fuck to say.
Yeah. Like I look back on like a lot of the decisions I made, and they made sense in my mind then. And now, being the person I am now, I'm like, that did not make it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I was on the road for my daughter's first birthday. It's like, what? Like, what are you doing? It's your daughter's first. And in my mind, it was like, hey, this is a huge show we're doing. I'm on the road that weekend. Does it matter? Like, she's not going to remember. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, but you'll remember.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit. Like, what are you doing? It's like stuff like that. That's like, it just feels like different now looking at it. And I was like, okay, but you learn, right? You learn. That's the whole part of it. So now, like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what would be important, not only to them, but what's important to you to feel like you're doing the best that you can. Because we evolve. You're trying to be the best version of yourself, and nobody's perfect. You got to take an honest look sometimes. Like, that's not the move,
When did it start beating you up about it? Because like when you're working so fast, you forget.
That slowed me down when my daughter said that. That definitely put a jolt in it. And then the fights got bigger with Bessie, so all that stuff. Like, I think that just compounded, during COVID, especially being home and, you're supposed to feel like you're getting tighter, and feel like you're getting, you're spending time with your people. And then you're just like, oh, now we could actually spend time and talk about stuff that's been bugging us, but you're already too programmed not to. So like, I think like, it was in little waves, and then it just, started hitting hard and hard and fast, Dude,
I'm amazed you didn't get into cocaine after that. What a fucking wild ride, dude. I would have went straight to the bag, bro. Tell me about this anti-bullying campaigns you're doing. What is this all about?
I had worked with a company called Pop Culture Hero Coalition, and I met them actually at a Comic-Con. So it was our first or second Comic-Con, I think, in San Diego, which we were doing for the Jokers. And I walked by this little booth, and it was just like an anti-bullying thing. And then I'd always, I'd been bullied in high school and always wanted to get into that. And I, again, heard from fans about how I made them laugh through this bullying thing. And I realized, my story is actually, that's part of my journey. So let me, try to help people out and talk about that. So I was looking for a company to get involved with. And
what's
I just
your
randomly
story
went up
about
to
that?
I'm sorry?
What's your story about that? What you're bullied as a kid?
I was totally a geek in high school. I was on the math team. I was a math lead. I was on the bowling team. Shout out to Strike Force, my peeps.
Let's go.
But yeah, so I was like totally like this geeky kid up until junior year is when I realized I could make people laugh, and that was like totally a turning point for me. And so I wasn't like I in the neighborhood I got picked on a bunch. Not really, not much physical stuff, but mostly just like made fun of and left out and things like that, But I would definitely say I experienced it to a degree. And so I was looking for somebody to get involved with, and these people were there, and they had just a little table, and I walked up and I was like, hi. I was like, and it's funny because the person I was talking to didn't know anything about me. And I was like, and I look like just like and they're like, oh yeah, I'm anti-bullying, and they tell me about the organization, and then I just got flooded. Like, can I take a picture? I'm taking all these pictures, and the woman was like, I'm sorry, are you? I'm like, no, I'm just on this, I'm just world famous woman. Open your eyes. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, I'm on this TV show, and she's like, oh really, blah blah, and she's like, oh, if you want, you could come talk at our panel. And I was like, really? I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And I was like, yeah, I'll come to it. And I tweeted that it was the next day, and I tweeted I was going to it, and the room was packed, and they were like, who is this guy? Like, I didn't even know. So then I met the other woman, and she was like, oh my God. She's like, I know you. She's like, thank you so much for being blah, blah, blah. It was just really funny. Because one lady was like a psychologist that barred it, and the other one was like one of the celebrities involved with it. So it was really funny. And then I just had a great time doing that panel. And then I just started doing them at different Comic-Cons because we were always in that, I enjoy Comic-Cons, and I was in those different, worlds, and I would just always take time to do the panels and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I butted up with that Be Kind campaign, and I started wearing the Be Kind t-shirt on the show, and that became kind of a hallmark for me. And they're just a great company, and I've always worked with them every year. So I do New York and San Diego Comic-Cons mostly with them, or Chicago sometimes too, depending on my schedule. And I always try at least once a year to do a panel with them and talk and support them. They're great.
What's the worst bullying you've ever had to deal with in your life that you still remember to this date?
I think I don't know if it was one incident, but I do remember the feeling of being alone and not accepted. And I think that was probably one of the darker times of my life too, where I was just like, I felt like I had nobody, because I really didn't actually in that time besides my family. I didn't really have anything. And the good thing my father and mother were close to me. I actually have a poster hanging here that I found again online. My dad had got me a poster, and it just says attitude. Remember those posters that were like those inspirational posters from like the late like the late 90s? It had like a oak tree, and it said strength, be able to weather the storm, like that bullshit, right? So there was one, and my dad got me one that says attitude, and it's just 3 fighter jets in the sunset, and it says attitude, winners surround themselves with winners. And my dad bought it for me, and he hung it on my wall. I actually found it again. It's hanging in my office. And I had that, and my dad just said to me, and he goes, it was right before, it was like 8th grade, and I was alone, and I was doing like creative writing. That was my first foray. I was a writer, and I loved writing stories and stuff. And my dad was like, he's like, you're pretty cool. Don't worry about it. He's like, you just haven't found your winners yet. And I was like, and it just kind of stuck with me. And that was pretty profound for my dad to be like, he's like, don't worry. He's like, you got it. You'll be all right. You'll find your winners. And then I started high school, and I met the boys. So it was
my God,
pretty interesting,
Isn't it crazy how once you change your mind state of how you perceive life, things start coming your way?
So true. Perception is 100% of the, like the outcome is driven by your perception of events and things. I think so much. I think if you're open to it and you're just evolving your mind and just trying to look at things from different ways, you'll be able to find why. I'm not a everything happens for a reason kind of guy. I'm not, but I'm definitely like, you could find a reason why this happened, or you could find something to take away from this, I think a reason everything's happened is kind of just like a cop out to be like, just go with it, just roll with it. But it should be like, no, learn from it And just,
Yeah.
you know, it happened for a reason, but what's the reason? Like, you need to investigate. You got to just shift around it. You can't like, it just happened for a reason. Well, no, what was the reason? The reason was you were a shit husband.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't like, that's the reason, you idiot. Like, you know, it's like you were, there's a bunch of different reasons, but that's one of them, right? That's a contributing factor. So fix it. You know, so I think that I agree with that for sure.
What about were you with your wife through the whole process in Practical Jokers, or was it more later
No, it
in the
started. I
career?
was a baby store salesman when it started. I became famous in my career took off inside my relationship.
Holy shit! So you never got to experience? Were there like impractical groupies? Like
That's the spinoff show, Impractical Groupies. So we started dating. I had met her in my old life. I was a baby store salesman for this company called Giggle, and there was I was their training program manager. So I would go to new stores that opened and trained their staff, and they had 12 stores. One opened in the West Coast in Corte Madera, in Bay Area of San Francisco area, so California. So that's where she was living. I went there, and I was there for a couple of weeks, and we met. And we went on a date there, and we started dating long distance for about a year and a half.
holy shit!
It was like, came to a point where it's like, look, this doesn't work for me anymore. I was like, either move to New York or or we're done. You know, it's just, I'm just lane. She's like, okay, so I'll move to New York. So she calls my bluff, moves to New York, moves in with me and Murr. So me, Murr, and her live together in a 750 square foot apartment in downtown Manhattan. Yep. And then she was there when I had just filmed the pilot when she was in California. And then we got picked up for series when she moved there. About a couple months later, I had to quit. I quit my job.
Oh my god!
And I was the first one to quit my job, and then I was all in, and then she was with me ever since. So she saw, she was like, she never wanted to be like, this wasn't her kind of life. It wasn't like, she wasn't like that kind of, thing. So it was like, she kind of got thrown into it too, and had to be forced into like she's really a pretty big introvert and like keep to herself kind of small circle kind of person, so this life is a little different for somebody like that, so there's definitely growing on her, on her take too. And, parts she could have done better too. We talk about it honestly, like there's ways we both could have communicated better or been there for each other and supported each other in different ways. And, so that was another piece of the puzzle, I think, that we didn't necessarily navigate that.
And it's got to be hard because fucking she watched you start becoming more distant and didn't say anything until it just exploded.
Yeah. And physically distant, like, not just like, it's like, hey, I'm going to be on the road. There was one time where I saw the boys for 32 days in a row. That's insane.
Oh my God.
32 days in a row. Like that was more than I saw her. Like I saw them 32 days in a row. Like that's nuts. That's not a way. I mean, look, it's part of the reason why the success of the show and why my career is what it is. I mean, I worked fucking hard. I did what I had to do for it, but it came at a cost. So, you do what you have to do, quote unquote, but what happens gets done. It happens for a reason.
People don't realize the sacrifice it takes and how much effort it needs to make it in the entertainment industry.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
especially
you're
at the
gone
level
whole
we
time.
did, I mean, to do 10 years of, well, for me, to do 10 seasons, that's a decade of my life, which is crazy. And I'm still going now at my own pace a little bit more and getting into different things that I like and really want to go with. And now that I have time and bandwidth, that's a big thing too. It's like you get fulfilled on a different level now. It's like, this is things that have been hanging out there as I'm getting older of stuff I want to do,
Yeah. It's fucking amazing. Joe, you're a real motherfucker, man.
I tried, buddy. I tried. Thank you.
No, it's for real. Like, I think about Impractical Jokers and how much it's affected my life of just like when I'm having a shitty day, I put it on to make me feel good about myself. Has there ever been a moment where a joke went too far and it really fucked with the psyche of the person?
I will say there's definitely some damaged goods walking around the streets of Manhattan. No, not really. Like, that was a good thing about our improv background, because when we were doing something, I would love to see like a compilation of us turning on a dime, because there was a lot of times when we were like on paper, like, this is great, this is gonna be great. And then we were like, and like people would be getting mad, or it would be like not working. And we were like, why is this not working? And we just realized, because we're not the butt of the joke. Like we're not the one being felt bad or looking dumb or whatever it is. And that was like a big part of it. For a lot of it was like, okay, what could we do here? And in the middle, we would just literally stop down and like, give us a minute. We tell Pete McBride, the guy running the show, like, give us a second, Pete. We'd sit in a room we'd talk for 15, 20 minutes, and then we go back out, and boom, we'd have it. Like, so, but sometimes it would be like, this is going to be great. And then we go and like, no, like you're out there and it feels wrong. You're like, no, this is not, this is not right. So like, that was kind of the thing. So I think that was a big part of it. Like if we made people feel bad, we weren't doing right. But then again, the other side of that is you're filming in New York City and some people just aren't in for your bullshit. And you're going up to a guy and you're like, hey, I'm going to take this guy's hat and put it on. He's like, get the fuck away from me. So that kind of thing happens too, my personal worst one ever. And I think it's definitely up there with like it's got to be the top 5 of the show was when I was stealing baseballs from the kids at City Field. And telling them that they could buy the signed baseballs on eBay, and the mother went nuts on me because I told her to give me her child. She was holding her kid, and she's like, "I want to get a baseball." So, give me a kid, I'll get you one. And she gave me her child, this 2-year-old, and I'm holding it. And I take the ball, and I'm like, "Oh!" And I give back the kid, and I won't give her the ball. And she goes, flips out. I'm like, "You just gave me your child." I'm like, "What are you yelling me for? You made a bad decision." And she just was not having it, So that was probably one of the worst. I think on record I think all of us would say that's one of the worst. Reactions.
That is fucking amazing, Joe. That's fucked up. And like, as I think about that, I think your improv studies when you're a kid definitely help with that. Because if you didn't have that, you would have just kept going, and then it'd be funny because you're talking about anti-bullying, and you're just bullying all these fucking New Yorkers.
These people, we made good for it at the end. I handed out lots of baseballs to kids. We kept a record. That one woman got to meet Noah Syndergaard. I think they gave her tickets to 3 more games that season, which was funny. But she did hear a signed jersey. We were they really took care of it. But in the moment, because that was the big thing too. In the moment, even with your friends, I used to hear in the beginning a lot, Murr gets picked on, you guys bully him. I'm like, no, he knows what he's doing. It's for a TV show. He's in. He's part of it. You can't bully somebody that's I'll get a paycheck for doing this for my life. He knows. He knows what's up. So it's not like that. And at the end of the day, we're friends. And people always ask, oh, what was the line? What would you wouldn't do? The line is they're your friends. At the end of the day, we're each other's friend. So I know stuff that Sal would really hate and be mad about. I'm not going to do that to him. I'm not going to punish him with that. I'm going to punish him with what he'll do funny because it's a comedy show.
Exactly.
I'm not going to make people do things that, at the end of the day, it's a hidden camera comedy show. We did a very well hidden camera comedy show and with your friends. And it was more friendship on display than anything else. I remember the moment when we really figured that out. I was in charge of doing the edits and stuff too. So one episode we were working in a shoe store. And we went out, and the turns were okay. But in the back, when we filmed the BTS, when we're watching the monitor, we film everything. We film, the cameras are just rolling. And there was a conversation that started where Murr asked to borrow Sal's chapstick. And Sal was like, no, you can't borrow my chapstick. Murr's like, what are you talking about? I was like, and they got into this conversation on Sal's stance and debate, so indignant about how disgusting it is to put it on Murray's lips, and Murray being like, I sip from your cup sometimes, and something like, what? You sip from my, and it's this funny thing. And I was like, you know what? Fuck, we're going to put this in the cut. We put it in the cut and we sent it into the network, right? And inevitably network notes come back. And they're like, hey, blah, 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 this is great. And they're like, oh, this conversation is really funny, but we're not sure it fits. So I said to them, I remember having the call and I was like, look, I said, I'll send you everything else. And I need you to be objective. Everything I took out of the challenge. Tell me if any of it is funnier than this, and I'll be more than happy to take it out. If not, give me this. Let me try it. Sure. They look at everything. Nothing's as funny. They said, all right, fine, keep it. We keep it. And from that moment, we heard about, oh my God, these guys are so funny together. Oh, they're real friends. And you could see that. And it was like a peak. And then we were like, all right, we got to really dig into this. This is what the show's about. It's about our friendship. So we started doing these walk-in talks, which we called interstitials. And I don't know if you remember, season 2 or 3, we would walk around the park and just pick a topic and talk in between challenges, and we would just have a conversation. It was kind of like a podcast. And we would just have a quick combo, and they were always funny, and they always shed more light onto our personalities and our dynamic. Started putting them in. Before you know it, 5 challenges in an episode became 3 challenges in an episode because we started putting a lot of those conversations in. Then it became 2 challenges in an episode because we would really let them breathe, and we'd really just lean into it, So I think that's really, really what the show became, was because we leaned into the friendship.
Yeah, and as the years went on, it was more about the friendship and laughing together, and I think that's what people related with it.
100%. I think that speaks. It's perfectly exemplified in the success of the show Dinner Party. So during COVID, we couldn't film, but we knew we still need to be in people's homes to make people laugh, and we need to keep going. And how are we going to do this? One night we had decided, we hadn't seen each other. So we decided to have dinner over Zoom, and we were hysterical, having fun, laughing. And Q was just like, I think it was Q, or it was one of us, and Q, I think it was Q, and he's like, this is funny. He's like, we should record this and release it. And we were like, this is a show. Let's pitch it. So we pitched it to Drew, and we said, this is the show. We said, what's the show? It's called Dinner Party. We're the four of us going to have dinner, going to fuck with each other, have dinner, and be in our own homes, pick a dinner to cook, and just talk. And they're like, what? And we're like, it's going to be funny. Don't worry. And then it literally was just us having conversations, and people watched it, and it was very highly rated. It was one of our favorite things we've ever done. I think all of us would have done more seasons of it if we could have. And it was just awesome. And, and it was like, I think people were so invested that it completely translated right to that. Like, it was a parallel. People watched it as much or more than Jokers, and if they weren't invested in our friendship, if it was all about the pranks, they wouldn't have watched that,
right. Yeah. Is it easier to convince the network about new projects as the success continues with Impractical Jokers, or is it always still pulling teeth to get a fucking show greenlit?
It's always pulling teeth. I think Jokers itself was always untouched. There was a lot of regime changes, but it was always untouched because nobody wanted to come in and fight. It was like, just fucking leave it. Shut up. Nobody wants to come in and be like, that's gonna be better. It's like, shut up. So a lot of that was happening, but a lot of it was they became very protective of the brand because they didn't want people to be like stray from it, or they didn't want us not to be able to focus as much on it. So, instead of leaning in and being like, what else you got? It was more like, okay, how do we keep this train running? So I think that was part of it, but Misery Index opened it up for us a little bit. That was, the TV show, the game show we did with Jamila, that was on TBS. That did because it showed us in a different light. We still were the same thing. We're just friends messing around and talking, but it showed us in a different light where we were like, able to be like, this is just us being people and not necessarily messing with the public. Like, you could get us just talking. So
what did, have you ever pitched anything that they're like, fuck no, Joe?
We had this one punishment that was called Bus to Tampa, which we pitched every season. It was always in the first packet every season. And it was just, we handcuffed somebody, the loser of an episode, to the bus to go down to Tampa.
Oh my
and they're like, they have to take the whole thing. They have to take the 27-hour bus ride handcuffed. And then when it ends, they're in Tampa. That was it. And they never would let us do it. And I was like, oh man, that would be a fun one. Yeah, that was one that we never let us do. But some of the stuff, like we had an idea and it was just like, it's going to be funny. Trust us. And they would go with the ride. Like when I was a massage chair, there was a punishment where they made me a massage chair. And in the beginning of every season for 6 weeks was pre-pro, where we just sat down in the writer's room. We're like, all right, what the hell are we going to do this season? Let's talk about everything. How are we going to change? What are we going to do? And we're just sitting there. And I remember going, what if I was a massage chair? And we all busted out laughing. And they go, what happens? I said, no, like, one of those massage chairs, like people sitting on me and I have to be a chair and massage them. And I'm like, I'm just going to be like, go, and sit there. And they're like, and we're all hysterical laughing. I'm like, write it up. So the writers write it up in the packet. It says massage chair. We make Joe a massage chair. That was it. And we sent it in, right? So like we get the notes back. A phone call comes in and it's Simmy. And he's like, hey, what is this one? I go, yeah, I'm a massage chair. And he goes, okay. I said, yeah, that's it. I said, I'm just in the mall and I'm a massage chair. And he goes, well, what happens? I said, I got to massage people as a massage chair. And he goes, okay, well, like, trust us. Let us do it. He said, okay, he'll do it. And he just let us do it on that. And it was one of the funniest ones we've done. We were just so dumb that I just dressed it. Like, we're trying to fool people that I was a massage chair. And the art department did such a great job building this fake massage chair. Will Thaxton came up huge with it. It was just really funny. But so they gave us that leeway too. So it went both ways, I think.
Were you ever getting like slack like that? Like, with Jackass going on earlier in the career and you had your Impractical Joke show. Was there any like kind of like controversy with like MTV saying, hey, what the fuck, or any of that stuff, or no? Because you had your own, it was your own style show.
Our own side. MTV wanted to buy our show. Our bidding war was between MTV and True TV before we started. So the show went into the two with them. MTV wanted it as a strip show, meaning 5 days a week, recast with people. And it'd be like a competition show. 5 days a week it would go. They would just pay us for the idea, not us. And True TV was like, we want you guys. We'll make you the face of this network. They kept true to their word. And but at that time, True TV was court TV. At 5 o'clock, it started doing original content. And we were on between 2 towing shows, Lizard Lick Towing and South Beach Tow. And we were in the middle, this comedy show. Right. It was insanity. We're like, what the hell? And it just caught fire and was like, wow. And True TV, if you watch the evolution of it, has become like a comedy channel. You know,
Yeah, you were the pioneers of comedy for True TV, which is fucking
100%.
amazing.
And then they just built, like, they changed their whole thing about second season in, third season in. They changed everything, got rid of everything, their old programming, which was just like some trashy reality stuff.
Was there a moment like you opened your mailbox and saw the syndication money? You're like, oh shit, this is working.
No, basic cable. I don't have syndication money.
Oh, really? Basic cable? No.
Basic cable reality. Yeah.
That's hold on. Explain that to me. Why is basic cable not residual money?
No, it's because it's considered a reality show.
Oh, fuck that.
Reality shows, it's basic. I get it for the movie, which is good, but you know, so the movie streams and we get a couple dollars there, but that's nothing crazy. But you know, I still have to work for that. So it's funny because we say that all the time. I say I'm a basic cable internet sensei, basic cable international celebrity. But it's cool. You know, so MTV was never, and we were always trying to be our own thing. Like Jackass is their own thing. We could never be Jackass, and they could never be us. I don't think. I think it was two different things, and you know, two different vibes and completely different fan bases. And you know, there's a little bit of crossover, but for the most part, I think we were more family friendly than Jackass was. We were more of a co-viewing show.
Yeah. Man, what a fucking career, Joe. And you're still going, baby. Let's fucking go.
I'm just warming up, baby. I'm just warming up. Let's do it. Let's go.
Know what I think about? I got two more questions. I just thought about this. You're going through your separation during COVID, right? 2021. You make a dinner party show. And it's like dinners are like, feel like it's about family and stuff. Like,
no, I was home. It didn't happen until after that.
Okay. I was like, damn, this motherfucker's sad as fuck during this.
I would have just been depressed in the dark, just eating cereal. In a bathrobe with scruff, like, just shut up.
Oh, fuck. Well, Joe, keep fucking rocking, bro. I'm a big fan of you, and your work ethic is so inspiring, and just keep doing it, man. You know, it's through it all. Keep rocking. I got one last question. I'll let you go. You know, when it's all said and done, you know, what do you want to be remembered by?
It's a very good question. I was always very aware of legacy growing up and like what I was going to be, you know, family and all that. And I laugh about this now because my kids, there's so much of me. Like, I wish I had this much of my father with the 10 years of TV, with my Two Cool Moms podcast, you know, with the hours I have of that, you know, that they just hear my advice and my words of wisdom, like all my writing and stuff. Like, there's just so much of me. My kids have that. So they have that. I would love for them to be interpret like just how to be like good. I think it lives on through your kids, just how to be, just be somebody that's remembered of being a good person. Like, I remember my dad, like, it was like one of those things where nobody said a bad thing about him. Like, no one had a bad thing to say, and you hear that about it, but like, that was for true. Like, there was so many people at his funeral. Everybody was like, oh, he's such a good guy and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's an important imprint, was that like, he touched his world. He didn't necessarily touch the whole world, but he touched his world. And I think that's important to remember, that the size of the world is your world, you know? So my world's got a little bit bigger because I've been on TV and, you know, doing all this stuff. But like, I try to remember that, like, I you know, my interactions with fans, and I try to be as best as I could be. Sometimes I have an off moment, but for the most part, I try to be pretty cordial and nice, and make it memorable. But I think that for the most part, like, I want to be somebody that's remembered of being like kind to people.
Yeah. Are your kids sick of you now that you're making extra effort to go hang out with them? They're like,
no, it's funny. I have to like, it's funny because it doesn't feel like extra effort. It feels like the right amount now. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like I feel like the right amount of present. You know, I feel like they'll go and do their thing and then they'll come like, Daddy. I also, somebody said this to me, your kids only ask you to play with you for so long. And the first time they don't want to play with you really hurts. So say yes to, can they play? So I'll drop everything. My son's like, can we play? Yeah. And I'll spend 5 minutes playing with them, you know, because like there's going to be a time when they're not going to want to play with you anymore, you know, and that's going to sting. So like, I try to take all that to the bank.
Especially as an older parent, you know, how old are your kids?
Yeah. So my kids are 8 and 6. They'll be 9 and 7 this year. Yeah. And I'm 47. So who knows how much time we got left here.
Yeah. You got 3 more years.
Clock's ticking. Like, make those memories.
Keep working, Pop.
Let's go. Let's go, Dad.
I love it. All right, Joe, go do your thing. I know you're busy. Thanks for being on the show. I'll be rooting you on, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate this. This is really nice. So thanks so much. It was nice
Cheers,
to talk.
bro. Have a great one. Later, bud.